You're welcome to my channel. We are still continuing with auditing topic 1, and in this video we are going to be looking at the assurance and advisory services provided by auditors. So we shall start with the assurance services. Assurance services, it's where the assurance firms are the auditing firms. They obtain sufficient appropriate evidence in order for them to give an opinion that increases the confidence of another party. Another party, it's the shareholders or the company, the owners of the company, about the subject matter measured against criteria. So the auditing firm gets evidence that shows whether the financial statements are free or not free from material misstatements. That is assurance services. Then we have 5 elements of an assurance service. 5. So the first one is a three-party relationship. That is the first element. So a three-party relationship, we are going to look at 3 parties. The first party is the responsible party that prepares the subject matter to be examined, and that is the management. Then the second party is the practitioner, who is the professional that provides assurance on the subject matter, that is the auditor. Then we have the intended user that requires the assurance report, and that is the shareholders. So the first element is three-party relationship, and that three-party we have the responsible party, the practitioner, and then the intended user. Then the second element is the subject matter. Subject matter, it's the data the responsible party has prepared that requires verification. For example, the financial statements, the accounting system, or to check whether the company is complying with the laws and regulations of the country and all of that. So that's what we call the subject matter. It's the second element. The first one is three-party relationship. The second one is subject matter, which is the data the responsible party has prepared that requires verification. Then the third one is the suitable criteria that is used in assessing the subject matter in order to form an opinion. For example, the financial reporting standards, like the process, something like that, the suitable criteria that is used in assessing the subject matter in order to form an opinion. That is the third one. Then the fourth one is sufficient appropriate evidence. That word, you're supposed to rate it the way it is. Sufficient appropriate evidence. Don't rate sufficient evidence or appropriate evidence. It's supposed to be sufficient appropriate evidence that has to be obtained by the practitioner in order to give assurance. Then the last one is the assurance report, which is an opinion issued by the practitioner. We say the practitioner is the auditor to the intended user. The intended user is the shareholder. So after the auditor examining the financial statements and knowing whether they are free or not free from material misstatements, they rate a report. And after rating that report, they send it to the shareholders. So those are the 5 elements of an assurance service. We have a three-party relationship where we have the responsible party, the practitioner, and then the intended user. Then we have the subject matter, we have the suitable criteria, we have sufficient appropriate evidence, then we have an assurance report. So an assurance service is where an auditor provides reasonable or limited assurance in an assurance report. So the evidence, the assurance that is given, it can be reasonable or limited, something like that. So we have 2 types: reasonable assurance and limited assurance in an assurance report. So for reasonable assurance, Reasonable assurance service is where a high level of assurance is given in an assurance report, like they assure of what they are talking about. So there is a high level of assurance. Then for limited assurance, it's where low level assurance is given in an assurance report. Like they are not sure of something like that. So we have reasonable assurance and limited assurance.